Hi everyone. So in this video, I just wanted to show you a really quick and easy way to create a search bar, just like this one here, maybe for your blog or your website, using only the built-in features in a MySQL database. So this blog is just for demonstration purposes. It's about focus and sleep hygiene, and there's only 5 posts in total. And we'll use this to demonstrate the 3 different search modes we can use in MySQL. So let's hop over to the database now. And maybe I'll just start by showing you the version of MySQL that I'm using here. So yeah, I'm using version 9.2.0. And then let's orientate ourselves to the same blog. So it's going to be search demo blog. Let's just run that. Okay, so we can see here's the 5 posts. Sleep better tonight, focus without superpowers. Okay, so let's just see here, sleep better tonight, focus. So yeah, so we can see that these are corresponding to the same blogs in the database. So, okay, how would we create this search function? There's basically just 2 steps. First, you need to create what's called a full text index, and then you need to choose from 3 different kind of search modes. Now, technically, there are some additional tweaks you can make to the configuration, like what stopwords are included, or how long, what the minimum length of a word needs to be. But let's keep this simple and just stick to the default configuration so you can implement this right away. Okay, so step 1. So let's do step 1 here. So we're going to add the full text index, and that is as easy as just altering the table, the search demo blog post, and we're going to add full text index. And that's it. We just have to give it a name. Let's go with like full text index. And then we need to include which columns we want to be part of this search. So for example, maybe we want, the title, and then also if we scroll over here, the body of the blog post as well to be included, just like that. So then we just have to run this statement and there we go. So now, how do we check if this full text index was actually created? We can do that because I have admin access on my own local computer, and this is just a MySQL database on my local machine. We can actually look at what this index looks like. So let's do that now. Okay, so here we are in the terminal, and you can see that, yes, so we're in the right database. There's that table we're using, and we need to basically set one global variable here to the table in the search demo database. And then we can select star from information schema dot in ODB underscore FT index table. And this will show us our full text index that was created. So let me just scroll up to the top. So basically how this works is the full text index takes all of the words from the title and body of our blog posts, tokenizes them, removes stop words, removes words that are too short, and then creates this index. I think it usually is easiest to understand this from starting from the document ID column right here. So for example, let's say we're looking at the word after. We can take a look at the document ID and see that the word after occurs once at position 795 in document ID 5 and twice in document ID 7 at position 438 and 19. And then these first 3 columns just sort of summarize these last 2. So we know that the first document ID is 5. We can see that here. And the last one is 7. Because it only occurs in 2 documents, that's the first and last one. And then the document count is going to be 2. And essentially what's going to happen is MySQL is going to do something similar to a TF-IDF calculation to give us our search results. And I just wanted to cover one thing before we continue. We know there's only 5 blog posts, but yet we're seeing document ID 7. That's a bit confusing, at least it was to me initially. So I did a select distinct document ID, and we can see there are actually indeed only 5 document IDs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it just starts from 3 for some reason. I'm actually not sure what happened to document IDs 1 and 2. So if anybody knows, please let me know in the comments. Okay, now for the fun part where we actually get to do some searching. So this is going to be step 2. And I'm going to show you the SQL syntax to use this full text index we just created. It's really simple. So let's say we want to select maybe the title from our search demo blog post table. And all we need to do is say where. So we're going to match the title and the body, which is what we put in the index, against the actual search query. So we'll type something in there. And then we have to choose a mode. So this is where we're going to choose one of the 3 modes. The first one we're going to do is natural language mode. And then we just have to put in a query. Now, we'll get to how we can kind of programmatically enter this with Flask in that demo blog. But for now, let's just say, should I go for a walk after lunch if I feel sleepy? And then let's run this. And there we go. So we can see that it is returning results for us here. It's only returning 4 results. That means these keywords only occurred in 4 of the 5 blogs that we have. But we can get a little more context by actually looking at this score. So if I actually add this to if I just copy and paste that up here, we call this as score, we can actually see how MySQL is scoring each of these blogs. And actually, we can also, it's already ordering it by this, but we can order by the score descending to make this explicit. It's going to be the same. So we can see, this blog here, walking that sticks, the 10-minute rule and habit stacking, that was the most relevant blog with this natural language mode for this query here. So there's 2 more kind of modes I want to show you, but let's also just see how this can connect into the Flask blog. I want to show how we can incorporate this into our demo blog. So I don't want this to become a video about how to program in Python or Flask. I want to kind of keep focusing on the MySQL. But just to show you how this kind of all hooks up, we'll just look at the index route of this demo blog that we've got. So at the very top here, I've just got a variable set up to take in our search query. And that is actually just going to be exactly the query we just did right here. So let me just copy this and paste it into here. Great. We're going to have to make a few adjustments, but we'll see that. Let's just continue through the route, and then we'll make those adjustments as we need. So basically, when we do a GET request to the index page, it's going to check if there is a query. That's going to be the search query that we type into the search bar. If there's not, if the query is empty, we're just going to run the SQL search all. And let me just scroll up to show you. For this demo blog, it's very simple. It just selects everything with no filter. Otherwise, if there is a query, if this string is not empty, then we're going to run our SQL search and pass through that query as a parameter here. So that's where we need to make an adjustment. So here, instead of hard coding it, we need to put in our query parameter, and we need to do that here as well. That's done like that with a colon Q. And then we're going to map that to a Python dictionary and then send it back to the front end and render that template. So let's see all of this in action now. So here we are back at the sample blog. So let's try it out. Let's put in the same query we were using in the database. So I'll just copy this query here and let's put it into our search bar and let's see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it's kind of working, but the display is a little bit wrong. I think I know what happened there. We can make that correction real quick if we just open up the source code again. Yeah, so we can see I actually need to include these other columns here. So let's just put that there. That's good. If we resave this, we just restart the server and let's try that again. So let's go back to clear. And I guess I'm going to have to copy this again. All right, let's try that out. Okay, there we go. That's looking better. So we can see there's our 4 blogs showing up in the search now. So let's take a look at the order just to make sure this makes sense. So we've got, okay, it should be walking, energy, focus, and mind, and walking, energy, focus, and mind. So that's good. So we could see here that the natural language mode is working. We've got it hooked up in the blog. And it was really simple, right? Like once we've got this done, all we have to do is choose which mode we want. So let's now look at the second mode. So here we are back in the database. And to demonstrate the second mode, I'm going to use the same search query we had before. And it's really simple to implement because it's actually just sort of an add-on option to natural language mode. So to do this, all we need to do is add with query expansion. And that's it. Let me add that to our score as well so we can see the score changing. So we can just add that here also. So how query expansion works is essentially MySQL is going to run the natural language mode search. And from the top results, it's going to take some of those keywords and run the search again to kind of expand the query. So if we look at the result set from natural language mode, we see that walking that sticks is ranked number 1. And now if I just rerun this with query expansion, okay, there we go. We see that the results sort of change. Now mind racing at night comes to the top. So I think, so one thing to keep in mind is this is a very small data set. So it may not be perfectly demonstrating how query expansion can work. But I don't think that one mode is better than the other if you just use natural language mode or you use with query expansion. I think it totally depends on your data set and play around with it and see what works best for you. So for the third mode of search, I thought I'd hop back over to the sample blog and implement that here. Essentially, again, all we're doing is making changes to this query. So for example, with the query expansion, all we need to do is add query expansion to the end of the query here. But for this third mode, which is called Boolean mode, all we need to do is adjust this to be Boolean mode. And again, we'll do the same thing at the score so we can see the score. And that's it. It's just that simple. So how Boolean mode works is this is kind of your advanced search for users who want to add symbols to really refine the search. So let's take a look at how this works on the blog side. So if I save this, and let me just restart the server there, and I'll open up the blog. All right. So here we are back at the blog, and let's say we wanted to find blogs that contain the word sleep, but excluded the word sugar. So with Boolean mode, we can do that by using the plus and minus symbol. So let's do that example now. So if I say plus sleep and I put minus sugar and I run that search, there we go. So we can see 2 blogs are returned. Sugar should not be part of any of these blogs. But let's say we wanted to refine this search further and find words like sleepy as well. Well, we can do that by adding a star to the end of sleep and rerunning the search. And now we can see that the search returns words with like sleepy also. So that's how we can kind of use Boolean mode as an advanced search. And that's it. Those are the kind of 3 search modes I wanted to go over in the MySQL database. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. I will include some additional information in the description below if you're interested. And thank you so much for watching.